Alright, so today we'll be discussing Satan and its different aspects. Alright, so look up Satan in Wikipedia. It says it's primarily known as the accuser or adversary. And originally, Satan was not the personification of evil. So basically, we personified good and evil, which is just opposite polarities. It's like say hot and cold. So you're just basically dealing with a pole. So it's no such thing as something being hot and no such thing as something being cold. It's just really one thing, temperature. So good and evil are just like that. So basically what we did with the word good and evil, we basically personified, which means made an intangible thing into a person, gave it personal qualities. Just off like saying a tree is waving. So you're giving human-like or human-like qualities to a non-human object. So good, they may have just taken the D and put it behind there. So now you have devil and goo. Maybe the last O can turn into a D. I'm not saying that's exactly how I did, but if you just, this is really as simple as that. They just took one letter out of good and added a letter to devil, to evil. And you have good, God and the devil. Alright, so just want to point that out about the polarity. Because primarily Satan is pretty much just negative polarity. Alright? So like I said, when you're playing the role of accuser, it's something like when you have a self-deprecating view of yourself, like you're just inherently evil. Religion does that, says you're born into sin, and some people feel like they're cursed from birth, and if they never get right, I'm just inherently evil and need to be saved. So that's when you play the role of accuser, or you accuse yourself. The opposer, I showed you that with my Astrological video, especially with Samson and Delilah. Samson represent Leo, or the sun, and Delilah, which means water bearer, she's the opposite sign. The opposite sign of Leo is Aquarius, so she played the water bucket because she tried to cut his hair, which is the sun, so his rays of the sun. So you can just go watch my Astrological video on that. So anything, any opposite sign of yours, it doesn't have to be that. But another thing worth knowing is each sign is ruled by a different thing. Leo is ruled by the sun, Cancer by the moon. On the outside, which is Virgo and Gemini, they are both ruled by Mercury. Taurus and Libra are both ruled by Venus. Aries and Scorpio are ruled by Mars. Pisces and Sagittarius are ruled by Jupiter. These two are ruled by Saturn, because astrologically Satan is Saturn. Biologically, it's basically just the base of your spine. So what we're dealing with is another polarity. You remember in your spine, you have the top. You have two soft spots when you're born. They only talk about the top one closing in your head. Oh, the baby has a soft spot. You see it breathing. But they never talk about the perineum, or right there what we call in slang the taint. So right between the anus and the vagina, or anus and the scrotum. But basically the perineum. And you can't see it. It looks like it's closed. But actually with my son, he'll be 2 in October. He has stayed open for a long time. It's kind of freaked his mother out when she's seen it. But I had to let her know there's 2 soft spots on everybody. Basically they're both still open. You just can't see it with the naked eye. So top of your head and the bottom of your head, that's a pole that runs through our body. So basically at the top, basically Satan resides at the bottom. That's where you get the word, when you sit down and you have a seat, or he sat down, or Satan down. So all this stuff. So mythologically you have the word Santa Claus. Because remember, at the top, positive polarity is Saint Nick. You're a saint at the top. When you come down from the North Pole down south, you become Santa or Satan. In the Bible, it became Seth. Different aspects. It became Seth. The good part of it, the story of Satan became Seth. The bad part split up to be the serpent. Another one, if you want to look at this other deity called Sata. Sata was an underground aspect of the sun. Okay, so basically the black sun. So that's why you get the word soul nigger, or black sun. Soul is sun. Nigger means black. Okay. Basically, the dark god is basically just the adversary, or the opposite of the sleeping god, or the sun god. So when it's nighttime, so basically on the clock, Satan would play the role of midnight. In the months it would be December, because Saturn or Satan takes over right there at the winter solstice. The word solstice means sun still. The sun stays still. 3 days later, after December 21st, every year, the sun starts to rise after 3 days. That's where you get your Christian story of Jesus dying and rising 3 days later. It's just the sun, because Jesus is the light sun. So the opposite or adversary of Jesus is Saturn. So Saturn rules Aquarius and Capricorn. So from December 21st all the way up until you get to Pisces, you're going to be dealing with Satan energy, which is going to be the opposite of Capricorn is the opposite of the moon or Cancer, and Aquarius is the opposite of Leo or the sun. Okay, so you're dealing with the opposite of the lights that's in the sky, the dark energy or the black energy or the nigger energy, soul nigger. So don't be afraid of that word. I'm trying to get you comfortable with it. Not that you want to go out and call black people niggas. I just want, if you are black like me, you just don't need to be offended by it. For one thing, don't let it mess up your energy. Another thing, just it can be used in your magic once you learn how to do this magic if you're not already doing so. Alright. So mythologically, the serpent. So it played the role of a serpent sometime. The serpent was often the symbol of the sun god's alter ego. So the alter ego of the sun god, which could be Jesus. So basically, you know, the serpent in all of the cultures have a positive aspect, but came over west became negative based on that Bible story because it was trying to give us wisdom. All right, so the serpent is wise. So just look at some symbolisms of a snake instead of taking it for the misinterpretation of that Genesis story. All right. So plays the role of devil when you have a belief that you're sufficient and you're independent of any source. So that's when the Satan becomes the devil. If you have you are a devil basically if you think there's no source to this energy that I'm trying to help you magic with. So that's the role of devil. We talked about the accuser. Let me see. You know, egotism. So when you're egotistical, you're also playing the role of a Satan. When you're puffing up your personality, or something like that. All right. I also want to point out, because this is in conjunction with the Lucifer video I did. So if you haven't seen that, I discussed right after I made that Lucifer video, because I told you that represents the pineal gland. So this represents the base of the spine. What's going to balance this is when I do the Jesus or Yeshua stories, which is the middle or the heart. So so Satan deals with everything below the heart. Lucifer deals with the mind, which is above the heart. Remember, you have two brains. Your stomach has neurons also, or brain cells. So you have your gut, which is your instinct, and you have your mind, which is your intellect. So we're dealing with two brains. We're dealing with the upper half, which is Lucifer, and we have dealing with the lower half, which is Satan. So Satan rules over those first three chakras. So I did a little thing with the chakras. So that go to Kundalini, or that snake that coils around your spine 3.5 times. So that's another significant number. If you look in the Bible and you see anything with 1,260 days, I think someone wondered around 1260 or something like that. That's basically, if you do the math, a year is 360 technically. So you multiply 360 times 3.5, you're going to get 1,260 days. So that's basically what they're talking about. And if you add up the numbers 1, 2, 6, and 8, 1, 2, and 6, that equals 9. So I told you what the symbolism of number 9 is, which is a goal accomplished. So just a little numerology. I don't want to confuse you right now. So let's just stick with Satan. So you're dealing with the first three chakras. The first chakra, or root chakra, is the base chakra. So you're just dealing with fucking, feeding, and fighting. The 3 F's: fucking, feeding, and fighting. So basically, sex, mating, survival, or eating, and survival in a sense of defending yourself and fighting to live, and so on and so forth. So those are the lower chakras. Then you have the balancing chakra, which is going to be Jesus or Yeshua, and then the upper 3 dealing with the mind. All right, so that's Lucifer. A little bit shortly after, I told you that anytime you see anything with Lucifer, anything in it, and the song "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds" by the Beatles, I want you to Google Miley Cyrus. She remade the song on a Billboard Music Awards right after I made my video, maybe a week or two later. So just so you can, I'm gonna try to tie this all in so you know I'm not making this up. So for those of you who've never heard of that Beatles song, here's a newer version. She sang it with this other guy from Flaming Lips. So just Google Miley Cyrus, "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds," and you can listen to the remake. She was high out her mind. I told you it's about LSD. And I told you, anytime you hear the name Lucy or Luke, they're talking about Lucifer. So that brings me to what's coming out in a couple of weeks. It's a movie called Lucy. So you know they're talking about Lucifer. Lucifer was a female angel anyway, technically. Lucifer, or Lucy in the movie, begins to use more than 10% of her brain. So if you haven't seen my video on paying tithes mean 10% or a tenth. So this is all about you, what I've been telling you about magic. What you're trying to, this whole thing, Lucy, is about you becoming the light bearer, or having light. You're trying to transform this light. So you're trying to get this negative polarity, which is Satan, and bring it up to your pineal gland, which is Lucifer, and balance it with your heart, which is Jesus or Yeshua. All right. So like I said, I'm doing Jesus videos too. So I just want to put all these things out here because there's so many misconceptions about these negative names, like Satan and Lucifer and so on and so forth. All right. So going to be on the lookout for that new movie. I think it's July 25th, Lucy. It's all about using 10% of your brain, and then she's going towards the movie. She's starting to use more and more all the way up until 100%. So it's really talking about everything I'm talking about and what you can do with these powers once you awaken this dark part of your brain. All right. Because basically, Soul Nigger, also if you want to look up the word alchemy, it comes from the word Kemet. Kemet is basically means the black land. The Greeks called it Egypt, so it's just basically the Greek word Egypt is Kemet, the black land. So this is really the first stage of alchemy. The word alchemy, even chemistry, means all black, all black. So the black science is what alchemy is. So one of the first stages of what they call the magnum opus, or the work. What you're trying to do is transform lead to gold. That's alchemy. A lot of people took it literally. Remember, always taking these stories literally. But lead is the metal that represents Saturn. Gold represents the sun. So you're basically trying to turn your lead or Saturn into Lucifer, or the pineal gland, the gold. All right. It's also a play on words. It go from being lead to having goals, or being gold, Goaled. So it's a play on words. So go from being lead into being gold oriented. So you don't want nobody to lead you. You want to have your own goals. So you have to learn these puns also, because all this stuff is written in puns and symbology. All right. So you're dealing with the first stage of the alchemical magnet opus called the Negrito, which is another word, nigger. We'll deal with nigger again, the blackening. So you can look up Soul Nigger or Black Sun and alchemy and so on and so forth, get some more understanding of that. All right. Anything else I want to discuss with this? Oh, I can talk to you. Set is an Egyptian deity. Basically, Osiris ruled over this black land, or Kemet. So basically, Osiris is basically I don't want you to confuse hell. So hell is Earth. On the Kabbalah tree of life is where we at, the physical world. But the backside of the tree on the Kabbalah tree of life, that when you have to meet in Star Wars, it was Darth Vader. But that Darth, that hidden Sephiroth, the backside of the tree is where Osiris dwells, or the subconscious. So we're dealing with the subconscious. That's what that movie Lucy is going to be about. Opening up those 90%, which is your subconscious. So Osiris rules the subconscious, which is the black land, or Kemet. Set ruled over the red land, or the desert, the barren desert. So he's dealing with all this below your heart chakra. So all your lust and all the other stuff, and dealing with your five senses, if you will. So Set in Egyptian became Satan later. And Seth is a derivative of it. So believe it or not, even though Seth plays a good role in the Bible. Okay, Set used to be worshipped, believe it or not, back in Egyptian times. All right, because he's basically a powerful magician. He's a love and sex magic magician. I'll do a video on sex magic coming up soon. Basically, originally, Satan was basically, or Set was basically a balancing force, and that's all it is. It's a balancing force because of polarity. We in physical form with duality. We think everything is duality, so we need balance. All right. Did I miss anything? All right. So I think that's it. I mean, you can also see, if you even know anything vaguely about the story of Job, if Satan was so bad, how was he able to walk in the garden and walk right up to God and make a deal with God? So, these stories are meant to scare you. They want you to make them scared, but they're really not. They're basically allegories, and if you just take them as that and apply my blueprint, which is all about your body and it's all about the heavens or the sky, you pretty much can't go wrong. That's a little bit more to it, but that's the basic right there. That's your foundation. If you work off that foundation, Satan won't be as spooky, because obviously it's there to make you a better person. Because Saturn energy, and I'll do some of the energies of the planets. Venus is a little bit obvious because of love and relationship. So even when you're doing candle magic, I talked about that. But when you're dealing with Saturn or Satan deals with restrictions. The planet Saturn is all about grounding you. So it's basically keeping you grounded. You need restrictions. You need rules. So that's all Satan represents. Now that can be a bad thing for somebody like a rebel or somebody who doesn't want to do whatever they want to do. But if you self-discipline, you're dealing with Satan energy. You want to ground yourself. You want to have balance and so on and so forth. All right. And I think that's all I want to say about that. Just a little bit more on Set because I had some notes. That's why I'm all over the place. Set is the lord of the desert of chaos. Remember, chaos is melanin and disorder, so on and so forth. So disorder and chaos has the potential to be something, and that's what you want to do. You want to use that. You don't want to have it a negative thing and defeat it. You want to be able to transform that kundalini or that serpent and rise it up to your forehead and balance it and so on and so forth and become the Christ or the anointed one. All right. Hope you enjoyed and thank you.